Carpenter Creek Restoration Project. Phase 1 and Phase 2 are completed. Village staff has begun the land acquisition needed for that. During design of the creek improvements, sanitary sewer conflict was discovered and analyzed by staff. The current alignment of the sanitary sewer runs parallel with the center line of the creek and experiences high inflow and infiltration during heavy rainfalls. Staff recognized the need to relocate the sewer. This will remove approximately 700 feet of sanitary sewer that was very difficult to maintain in the creek, in rear yards. It was just very tough to access.
So what's the effect of that, Ed?
Yeah.
I mean, are we getting more water in our wastewater treatment plant through
That's pretty much the
stormwater?
Well, yep.
Okay.
Yep. And when we're doing the improvements to the creek, that sanitary sewer is literally going to be in the air, so it has to be relocated.
Okay.
Was there other transfers from the sewer into the creek too?
No, that wasn't occurring.
Okay.
That wasn't occurring. It's more the manholes that would be out there.
Okay.
You know, the rainwater gets to find its way in the manholes and gets to the plant that way. But like I said, when we do the improvements, that sanitary sewer is going to be in conflict, and it just had to be relocated.
The residents over there are very excited to have that
Yes.
project completed.
The sanitary sewer is rescheduled to be located on Sedgwick Street, so it's actually a small little fix, and that'll be remedied. The sanitary design is currently underway with the engineer who's doing the creek design, and it's about 75% complete, and that's scheduled to be sent to the IEPA for permit next month. That's a separate permit needed for the sanitary sewer work. Once completed, these improvements will potentially remove 40 properties from the floodplain, thereby eliminating the property owners from FEMA's mandated flood insurance. And the anticipated start for construction on that is still summer, late summer, early fall, hopefully summertime. Questions?
Said that was
A lot of stuff.
this summer that project will begin?
Yeah, the only thing that's hanging out there is, you know, we have to get the right-of-way. We're working on
Okay.
that, and permit approval. But
And
that's,
we've started on the right-of-ways?
yes.
Okay. They have
Our
any-
consultant has drawn up the necessary plats needed, and actually Kevin's carrying the water on that.
Okay,
He's going to talk to the homeowners, but staff is working on that.
very good.
With that, I will hand it over to Kevin for the remaining.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
All right, I'm going to touch on the, let's get this a little bit lower here. I'm going to touch on this year's 2015 construction projects. The first one's, it's a big ticket item. It's a LWO Biesinger Drive water main and roadway reconstruction. So it's a water main improvement from Maple Avenue all the way to the water facility plant. It's a 16-inch water main, and that will basically, that's the last remaining portion of 16-inch water main that we need to have 16-inch from the water facility all the way to Randall Road Tower. So that'll improve the village's, what do I say here, ability to deliver potable water from the water plant to the western portion of the village.
It's a bigger pipe, right?
Yes, it's replacing an 8-inch, and actually after Elmbridge, it goes down to a 4-inch water main.
Yep.
The schedule, or the improvements, the roadway improvements are similar to that of Maple Avenue. Street lighting, curb and gutter, new roadway cross-section, storm sewer. There's currently no storm sewer on Biesinger Drive. Trees. The schedule is July 5th. We're shooting for a July 5th start date. We want to wait until after July 4th to start the project due to the fireworks. And we're going to put an end date. So it's kind of aggressive. We're going to put an end date of October 30th. So we want to complete this project this year. As part of the project, we will have a road closure. We'll close down Biesinger from Elm Ridge to Lake Marion. But only when we're probably going to put this in the contract when we start the actual roadway improvements or the storm sewer. So we might have the contractor stage and do all the water main, because the water main is going to be on the east side first. And then once he's ready to start on the storm sewer, that's when we'll do the full closure and we'll notify everybody. And we've already been in contact with school districts, Pace Bus, because of the Pace Shelter. So everybody is aware that we'll be closing it down. Next project is Sleepy Hollow Road improvements, and this is Sleepy Hollow from Grandview Drive at the north down to the village limits on the south end. It also includes Miller Road, basically adjacent to Shenandoah subdivision. So we will, basically that's the worst part of Miller Road and Sleepy Hollow. That's basically pavement patching and resurfacing. So that's basically what we're doing out there. We received SDP and LAFO funds for that, so that's 75% funded by the feds.
Is there much of a base on that road, Kevin?
Yeah, the base isn't too bad, actually. We did some in-house patching last year, and it seemed to hold up fine. So we're still going to hit those same patches again with a contractor this year and go a little thicker with them, but it seems pretty decent.
Does it? Okay,
Yeah.
good, thanks.
Next project is Newport Cove pavement reconstruction. So that's the entire subdivision of Newport Cove, and basically that's a select curb and gutter and sidewalk removal and replacement, and a new pavement cross-section for the whole entire subdivision.
And that's the first time that subdivision's been
Correct, yep.
Yeah,
Nine-
they've been there.
91,
Wow.
1991. 2015 MFT CDBG resurfacing and sidewalk replacement program. This is the program that gets pushed back a year because we wait on HUD to get funds from HUD. So this is actually T Road and T Lane. So this is complete removal and replacement of concrete curb and gutter and the carriage sidewalk, and then resurfacing of the roadway for both of those streets. We also received, this is where we received we leverage, as Ed alluded to, we leverage the $200,000 MFT money to double this project. So we get $200,000 from the county for this project. 2015 MFT resurfacing, that's just our strictly MFT resurfacing project, and that this year will complete Glen Eagle subdivision, and that's select concrete sidewalk and curb and gutter removal and replacement and roadway resurfacing. 2015 MFT hot mix asphalt material purchase. This is where we actually let out strictly to purchase tons of asphalt for our in-house for Public Works paving projects. This year we're going to concentrate in Old Town, so that'll be Cottage Avenue, Wisconsin Street, Maple Avenue, the last portion of Maple Avenue west of Washington, and all the side streets, did I say Lord Avenue, and all the side streets west of Lord that need it. There are some side streets that have been repaved recently, and the one street that's out of Old Town is Greenwood Avenue. We're going to do that in-house as well. Currently, we have Public Works staff. This is something that we started about 2 years ago. The sanitary sewer system was put in 1928, and it has all those old frames that have like the knobs on it, and we experience a lot of inflow into those manholes. So they're not very smooth to drive over. So we, as part of the project, we replace all those manholes. So I think we've already replaced all the ones on Cottage as well as Wisconsin Street. So those are replaced. We're also looking at some in-house storm sewer improvements. There's not much storm sewer in Old Town, so there's some areas that hold water that we're looking to install some dry wells. We just installed one on California today, actually. We installed one last fall on Lord, just north of Charles. And our last one is going to be at the north end of Lord, just south of William Street, near the duplexes. There's a big area of standing water. It's not an end-all, solve-all, but it'll suffice in low rain events, low-intensity rain events. Yes.
Could you give a quick explanation of a dry well in case somebody listening or somebody up here doesn't
Sure.
know what that means?
A dry well is basically a storm structure. So basically, we dig down and remove the dirt or aggregate and put in aggregate, bigger, larger, like a 3-inch aggregate on the bottom, put in a storm structure with an open lid on it, and basically the water just goes into that structure and infiltrates into the ground. And before we installed these, I actually had a company go out, geotechnical firm go out and verify that the soils were non-cohesive soils, so they would drain. And they turned out that Old Town, we have a really good non-cohesive soil seam in there. So hopefully this to solve some of the drainage issues that we experience in Old Town. 2015 MFT sidewalk program. This year, this basically is sidewalk removal and replacement, select sidewalk removal and replacement, and ADA improvements at all the intersections. And this year's area is going to be north of Kings Road and west of Route 25, as well as the Lincolnwood Manor subdivision. The next two projects that I'm going to talk about is we're actually going to solicit engineering firms for Phase 1 and Phase 2 engineering services for Rivers View Drive, which is also in Lincolnwood Manor subdivision, Rivers View Drive culvert replacement, as well as resurfacing, and Spring Street culvert replacement. So this is basically just a Phase 1 and Phase 2. So this is to get a set of plans ready to go, and maybe we can use it in the future for if there's some grant opportunities. Where am I at? Another project is a multi-use trail connection at Silverstone Lake Park. We're also going to solicit engineering firms for Phase 2 engineering services. And this is a multi-agency project which will include the village of Algonquin as well as the Dundee Township Park District. It's on their property, basically. And last but not least, Long Meadow Parkway. Staff is currently working with the county to incorporate bicycle improvements along Route 25. So it's the proposed intersection of Long Meadow Parkway and Route 25, north to Silverstone Drive, and then south to...
Down
Okay.
to Skeeters almost.
Yeah, I can't think of the street name right now. Navajo? Not Navajo.
Cherokee.
Cherokee. Thank you. Thank you. And this would provide the village connectivity from the west side of the village to the east side and vice versa by having these two connections. It would also allow residents to, on both sides of the river, to have direct access to the Bruner Forest Preserve property. That's all I have.
Well, and there's one other project Bob didn't touch on, but it's important on the intergovernmental. We're still working with Algonquin on a water interconnect to model much like our one with West Dundee to provide that redundancy and in case something happens to either village.
Correct.
You know, we do have the two riverfront parks. You could at least tell us what the status of those is, where they're putting in the rock and all that.
Sure. We actually have is it Thursday, Bob? I think we actually have a site visit. We're going to meet with the contractor and the Upland Design and go over the project. The stone toe has been installed on the west side, as well as I believe on the east side too. I think they just completed that. The river actually has gone back down, so they kind of stopped once it got high when we had the rain event, and now they're working on that. And I think actually at the Jack Hill, they are possibly going to be starting the plantings, the plugs, possibly next week. So we'll find more out on Thursday when we meet with them.
And you got the beautiful experience of working with the Army Corps to get our permits, right?
Correct. We have all permits in place.
We got permits, is that right? Is that what you
Yes.
said? Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Now, the village is not exempt from the permitting requirement.
But we got
Actually,
one, right?
We got the permit.
And they also on Jack Hill, they also did install the limestone outcroppings. So there's two installed on the east side on Jack Hill.
Do you have a timeline when it might be done?
I would, yeah, I would say in probably a month and a half, probably the way they're going.
Okay.
Like I said, we'll find out more on Thursday. So
It's a curiosity question.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yes.
Pat?
How long is Beesinger Drive going to be closed between Elm and Lake Marion, did you say?
Wow.
I-
Yeah.
we don't know that yet. But once we get the final design from Baxter and Woodman, they're going to try to put a stipulation on how long they can have it closed. I would say 2 months, probably.
We
So
might
that's my
see an
guess.
uptick of traffic on Brookdale. I think in order to get, if they come up down Maple, they need to get over to Lake Marion. And you know,
Oak
having lived
Ridge.
there, I haven't said much, it's already a huge cut-through.
Mm-hmm.
And like many of our residents have mentioned on other streets, they go very fast. There's
Yeah.
no reason to stop in there, they're just one end to the other.
The
And so
go
we
ahead.
might have to, you know, kind of keep an eye on that over there to see what happens for those couple of months, so.
And the reason why we're actually closing it off is because it's an expedited timeline for the project, and it's actually two things. We're thinking we're going to see a savings of about $30,000 to $50,000 in traffic control and protection. So that's why I would do it. It was actually monetary as well as
Yeah.
to get the project completed this year.
No, I understand it,
Mhm.
Kevin, I'm just saying, we need to be cognizant of
Sure.
what's going on one street over, I think, to cut through, you know,
Sure.
so.
And that would conclude our
yeah.
update of
Jump in here real quick and thank Mr. Ed and Kevin for a very nice job on Miller Road. I think it turned out really well. I was a little bit worried. And Kevin, you get the best handwritten notes of anyone I know. So
Thank you.
we do appreciate that you share those with us.
Sure.
And the goals update, one department that wasn't heard from was Joe Wade in Economic Development, and we'll defer him till the 19th at the second meeting of May, and you'll have a TIF update as well that night and some Walmart updates. So Joe took a good night to take his vacation,
Yeah.
because he'll just go by himself on that day. And with that,
right,
that would
thank you.
conclude the
Thank you.
Thank you.
reports.
Okay, then we got to go to the other reports, which is commissions. Okay?
Well, we did meet with the Business Development Commission and our consulting firm, so we were just talking about where to begin first and projects, but they also know that we're, one of the things is rebranding. Our image is a big thing, and I have to say that they really complimented Maple Avenue, the way it was completed, and how that is a huge improvement to our image as they look for, and they didn't word it in these words, but to be able to sell our village. You know, the things that we've been doing in the last few years are really coming to fruition, and the visually changing the look of Carpentersville and just being able to get that good news out. So that's just part of it, but just little things to be able to bring people down into that Old Town area and looking ways to where, we were telling them about the Chamber Festival that's gonna be for their 35th anniversary, and how maybe we could partnership with them, and just making sure that there's enough media out there. And these are just things that are just in the process. They're not like set in stone. Was a discussion meeting, you know, potentially having, getting permission, and on the weekends, maybe having a food truck, you know, a couple food trucks down in that area, because there are vendors that are needed along, because that bike trail is very busy. And we know we have the hot dog guy, but, you know, people want diversity and things like that, so I don't think it'll hurt his business. It'll just create some differences. We talked about, you know, with that focus of the bike trail and the nature areas in that, that at some point we're gonna need a porta potty or some kind of restroom structure in that area. When you have those amenities, people will stop. And so there was just some discussions about that, just to give you an idea of where we were talking. So it's just the beginning. Obviously, I will not be chairman of the commission anymore until somebody's appointed. I guess I'll head the meeting, but I know that that's gonna come along quickly. So maybe by the end of May, there will be somebody else. But I will remain on the commission due to the vote that was taken today in the consent agenda. So thank you for that.
And he was amazingly complimentary.
Very much,
Yeah,
very much.
of all the things that we've already done in the village, and the fact that our image should be so much better based on all the work we've already done on our village,
Getting
to our
more.
infrastructure, to our main roads, and all the things we had planned. It was kind of fun to sit there and listen to him, because he was just really almost gushing.
Well, and,
about
you know, really,
Carpentersville.
and my perception was, you know, this is a firm that, their hometown is Naperville. And the way that place is structured and the way they are, for him to be so complimentary, because if you compare to his hometown, you know, what they've done and grown there, but he sees what's going on here, And he has always said for us and the things that we want to do in Old Town, the reason why Naperville has been so successful, not only did they have a plan that they were working that was flexible, but it also was that they were working on small pieces at a time and making progress versus trying to think it all had to be done at once. And they have continued to grow their Riverwalk area and things like that, which draws people. So, but he was then complimenting us very much on the progress, you know, because some people can be a little snooty about, because they don't know, but he has seen so much of the improvements.
Yeah.
So they'll carry that with their attitude as they work with us which I think is good.
Paul?
No report tonight. We presented the budget earlier, so that's the culmination of our work. So,
Don?
Quadcom, May 27th, Michael, is what I show for the next Quadcom meeting.
Yeah, Qualcomm, exactly, that's Jets, so yes.
Okay.
And you said you won't be there, so we'll.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I won't be there. Hopefully I'll be fishing.
Oh, you got to send me an email, I'll go.
I'll send you an email.
Pat?
I wasn't able to attend the last Parks Committee meeting. I, too, had a daughter I had to run to the hospital. And but I was going to ask, and I'm putting her on the spot, I also wasn't able to attend the Arbor Day due to work. So I know Ginger attended. Would you be able to give a report, Ginger, on it? I heard it was very successful again.
On the Arbor Day?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
I was gonna do that anyway.
thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Want me to do it now?
Yeah, you can do it now since you were there. You can give us the
I was
official
there.
report.
It was a great Arbor Day. We had 120 fourth graders. We only had one tree to plant this year, and that's basically because of the condition of the park right now. And, but they really enjoyed taking their shovels and throwing the dirt around. We had a coloring contest, and there were 5 winners. They each won hats. There was only one guy and 4 girls, and it was pretty funny. The one girl didn't seem to want to put her hat on. Just like trying to bribe her, just for a picture, will you put your hat on just for a picture? So, Kevin, you have some pictures, don't you? The other Kevin? The other Kevin? Can we get those? I don't think they're up
Kevin
on
Gray.
there. They haven't been posted on the website yet, have they?
But there were a few on the Facebook.
Don's got them. Could somebody? Okay. Okay, great. Let's see. Jim McFagan gave a great story about Arbor Day and how it started, and got the kids involved. And Don Quiner, as always, gives a great, was he a teacher at one?
No,
No?
no.
He sure seems like it. He's
Natural.
just very good with kids and gets them involved and kept their attention. And I think that was the most important thing, was trying to keep their attention for the 30 minutes that they were sitting on the ground and stuff. And our own President Ritter gave a great speech to the kids, told them what trees are good for, and he loves that part, we know.
Yeah.
But he does a very good job with it.
He's a teacher.
Yes.
And I think that's about it. It was really fun. We
Yeah.
really enjoyed it.
The pictures were nice on the Facebook page.
And it was a good day. It was a nice day out, too.
Yeah.
And I might add, there was a big turnout from the Parks Committee. I think almost everybody was there, other
Except the
than you.
chairman, yeah, I'm
There
sorry.
may have been one other
won't
I
person
know, I missed it
absent,
this
but it
year.
was
I'm
still, it
sorry.
was still a very good turnout, and you would have been proud of your committee. They were,
Yeah. This is our third
there.
or fourth year, is it? Since I've been, I mean, the
third
fourth?
one I've been to.
Is it? Oh, third? Well, but, and I know they had it in the past, but then we had that long gap in between. And so I'm very glad that the village and the staff has embraced it as an annual event. We've set aside a little bit of money, not a whole lot, but it'll continue, no matter who's on that committee, who's chairing it. But the village is going to
Oh,
always
and-
have an Arbor Day.
And the
event.
kids got a a tree again this year in their little bag.
Some very nice bags. That was from
That was
one of our
donated.
committee members. He got them from a large landscaping company, I think. I mean, very nice quality bags from what I understand, so very nice. Everybody's effort was appreciated. It was great, so.
Well, we're almost at 3.5 hours already. This is gonna be one of
This is
our
a long
longer,
one.
longer meetings, but that's okay. It's
grew.
important stuff. It's always stuff. Okay, we just saved the longest for last for you, that's all. Well, you get a 2-minute meeting next time.
Okay.
Okay, no old business, under new business. An ordinance approving the annual budget of the Village of Carpentersville for fiscal year beginning May 1, 2015 and ending December 31,
I'll motion to pass the budget.
2015.
I'll second.
Motion Paul, second Kay. Any discussion about the budget at this point? It's been talked to death.
Talked out of it.
Just a great job.
Terry, call the roll, please.
Trustee Humper?
Yes.
Trustee Rayburn?
Yes.
Trustee Teeter?
Yes.
Trustee Stevens?
Yes.
Trustee Schultz?
Yes.
Trustee Burraway?
Aye.
Okay. The next part, we have 2 items that are following concerning the Freedom of Information Act. I think we'll take them, one's an ordinance and one's a resolution. So we'll take the ordinance amending Chapter 2.04 of the Carpentersville Municipal Code as amended regarding access to village records and documents. I would need a motion on that ordinance.
I'll motion.
Motion Ginger, second Kay. Any discussion on this particular item? Mark,
This
did
is
you wanna
just,
make any
this is
comments?
just, it took us a while working with Hart and Terry together to ensure that we update based on the change in state law, and this is the recommendation from the law firm with our changes in the clerk's office, checking down Springfield as well.
And if I may, Mr. President and Manager Rooney, the ordinance, the first item here is actually the companion piece. The ordinance formally authorizes the adoption of rules, which the statute allows, and sets out some of the parameters that we think belong in the village code. The next item are the rules themselves, which we think are an important piece of FOIA compliance. It'd been some time since the new FOIA law was adopted 5 years ago, since the village had taken a comprehensive look at its procedures and its forms. And so, as you may recall from a few months ago, and at your direction, we worked with staff to bring both these items forward to you. These are, as stated in the board report, these are based on model policies and forms that many of the municipalities that my firm represents have adopted in tailored forms for their municipalities.
Okay, if there are no, Kevin?
I just have a question. Part of it is a definition of, the definition for voluminous request. More than 5 different categories of records is referenced several times. Like what, could someone give a little more definition or scope to what a category of record is exactly? Is it like a column in a spreadsheet? Could it be something as simple as that?
The form
Or
is
I can try.
Terry, do you want to take this one?
Yeah.
well, the
Since you-
form was attached to, after the resolution, and it
Yes.
lists the categories.
That's-
And-
Okay.
It's
And by
very
law,
straightforward on the
Okay.
form.
and by law, we are required to put our categories on the website.
Okay, so it's all defined.
Yes.
Okay.
Right, if you go later on, it's like there's the checklist.
Yeah, I
Right
went
here.
through that. I must have missed the definition of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and the other thing I just wanted to point out too is I was glad to see that we have an exemption in the voluminous request designation for news media, nonprofits, scientific and academic organizations, because my main concern with moving in this direction is that governments, not necessarily this one, but it could give governments down the road an opportunity to attach punitive fees to any type of FOIA request or to overly endorse something as a voluminous request, just to discourage residents and taxpayers from getting records from their government. So it was just an overarching concern. So I believe this addressed all of them. The fees attached to the voluminous requests and the expenditures of time all seem reasonable in this. So doesn't seem to be anything that would be viewed as punitive or something that would be used to shield a government from government inquiry.
No, and I think to your question, Trustee Rayberg, it does cite Section 2H of the Illinois Freedom of Information Act, in the Illinois statute for the definition, and that's what we've,
This tracks. We have FOIA, we have leeway to adopt reasonable rules for implementation and how we'll actually go ahead and process requests, but for example, the fees on voluminous requests, those are capped, and what is defined is that this all comes out of the statute. We're not looking to make wave. We don't recommend you make waves with that. Certainly not. There are things to make waves about. FOIA is not one of them. So, try to hew to the statute there.
Yep, I just wanted to add that. That was all.
Anyone else?
Good point.
I already asked for my definition earlier for something.
Terry, call the roll, please.
Trustee Rayberg?
Yes.
Trustee Teeter?
Yes.
Trustee Stevens?
Yes.
Trustee Schultz?
Yes.
Trustee Burroway?
Yes.
Trustee Humper?
Yes.
Okay, then the second part is resolution approving rules and regulations for implementation of the Freedom of Information Act. We need a motion to accept this resolution.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Motion Kevin, second
Yes, sir.
Mark, any
No,
additional
I don't-
information?
I
This
don't
is
believe there is.
just supporting material for the other one.
They're companion.
Which-
These are the rules. This is really the meat of the village's program, implementing the statute to enable compliance with the Freedom of Information Act.
Any discussion? Terry, call the roll, please.
Trustee Teeter?
Yes.
Trustee Stevens?
Yes.
Trustee Schultz?
Yes.
Trustee Burroway?
Yes.
Trustee Humper?
Yes.
Trustee Rayberg?
Yes.
Okay. Item C, consideration of the following items concerning sale of 2049 Berkshire Circle, Unit B. And this is a public hearing, so we have to go through the public hearing process. And so pursuant to Section 3.04.040 of the Village Code, I hereby call to order the public hearing on the proposed sale of the village by the village of real property located at 2049 Berkshire Circle, Unit B. Notice of this public hearing has been published in accordance with requirements of the Village Code. Terry, would you call the roll for attendance at this? Yeah.
We don't need a motion.
No. Trustee Stevens?
Yes.
Trustee Schultz?
Yes.
Trustee Burroway?
Yes.
Trustee Humper?
Here.
Oh, here.
Rayberg?
Here.
Oh,
Trustee Teeter?
sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
I hereby
Getting late.
declare this public hearing open. Village is the owner of real estate located at 2049 Berkshire Circle, Unit B. Pursuant to our village code, the village may sell the property only upon the approval of two-thirds of the village board, and only after a public hearing. This hearing concerns the proposed sale of 2049B Berkshire property to Mr. Juan Hernandez, the owner of an adjoining dwelling unit, for $2,000. I call upon our Director of Community Development, Mark Huber, to explain the proposed sale to the board and to the public. After the introduction, I will entertain questions from village trustees. After that, I will call for members of the public. Mark.
Thank you, Mr. President. Real briefly, the property at 2049B, if you recall, was acquired by the village some time ago. It was essentially a vacant, dilapidated structure that was unsafe, and the village decided subsequently to tear the property down. Once we got all the approvals through King County, the court system, the property was demolished late last year. And during the demolition and restoration of the site, a couple of the immediate adjacent neighbors were interested in purchasing the property. One offered a couple $100, and Mr. Hernandez offered $2,000 for the property. So basically, we're recommending, and the ordinance you'll be considering will authorize the approval of the sale of, which is currently village property, to Mr. Hernandez. We anticipate imposing some construction requirements on him, and basically it will be consistent with the existing code for the area, with one exception, or excuse me, two exceptions, in that he would not be permitted to construct anything closer than 5 feet to the adjacent neighbor, which would be 2049 Unit C, and he could also only build essentially another 9-foot driveway on that site immediately adjacent to his property at 2049A. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. Mr. Hernandez is looking forward to the opportunity. He couldn't be here tonight because he had to work, but he is aware of the proposed covenants and requirements on the purchase of the property, so.
Okay, first I will ask if there are any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter. There's only one of you. Do you want to say anything? No? We could put a butterfly garden in there. I'm going to get in trouble for this, I know. He's already after me over here. Okay, any discussion from the board? Pat?
Just so the public knows, this is a property that's located in the Morningside Townhomes, so rather congested area, and is that the one, the roof was practically gone and it was very unsafe. So, just so I know, the gentleman that's buying it, is he looking to put another structure, another townhouse, or?
No, he doesn't, and that's a good point. He's not looking to do any construction immediately. If he were to do something down the road, he understands that he's got to meet those requirements, that he would come to the village for the permits. One of the other restrictions that would be placed on the property that could only be sold down in the future in conjunction with 2049A also. So it would not be permitted to be a separate unit. It can only be built in conjunction with it and consistent with it. So you couldn't fit another unit essentially with the new proposed regulations that we have on there.
I was going to say, given when they were built, Mark, and then today's, standard.
You wouldn't do that today.
I don't think you could build those townhouses again.
Yeah, they're 16-foot wide lots now, so with the 5-foot side yard setback, it's significantly reduced. He was interested in possibly building and expanding on his residence, which is at 2049A, but he has no immediate plans for that right now.
Okay.
11 feet, he could barely put a garage in, couldn't he? Could he? I mean, I
Could
suppose
expand
he
that.
could do a garage, but
Not much.
one car barely.
Exactly.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay. Well, I would entertain a motion to close the hearing.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Motion K, second Kevin. Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Public hearing is closed.
Public hearing is closed. We'll go back to the regular meeting. At this point, we're ready for trustee report. Oh, no.
Now you have the ordinance.
Yes.
Oh, okay, now we've got to go through and, all right, we had the public hearing. We have to have an ordinance authorizing the sale of 2049 Berkshire Circle Unit B. Motion?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Motion K, second Kevin. Any discussion at this point?
And I just point out, as you stated, Mr. President, under the village code, this requires a 2/3 vote of the trustees to approve the sale of the property as proposed.
Okay, we'll see what we get. Terry, call a roll.
Trustee Schultz?
Yes.
Trustee Burroway?
Yes.
Trustee Humper?
Yes.
Trustee Rayberg?
Yes.
Trustee Teeter?
Yes.
Trustee Stevens?
It's unanimous. I guess that's more than 2/3. So we're, now,
I believe so.
I'm just getting anxious. We haven't had a 3.5-hour meeting in a long time. So trustee reports,
We're not done yet, so snap a 2 there, buddy. I'm kidding.
anyway, trustee reports, Kay, since this is your last trustee report, we'll let you go first.
Yeah, no, I actually will have some comments next week, so.
Oh, wait a minute.
But,
No, you're changing this now. They
Yeah,
normally get
well-
to take a parting shot at us.
Well, partly because,
No, that's okay.
yeah, anyway, so, first of all, my daughter was in a car accident on Thursday there on Main. A gal from just outside the area, Lake in the Hills, didn't realize it was a one-way street there, and then it turned into her. But I just want to thank the response team of the police and fire, were wonderful for both sides, and, everybody was obviously shook up, but there was no injuries where they had to transport or anything. We just had her checked out later that night at the hospital, but I just really appreciate our guys, very much. So I know we say that periodically, but sometimes I don't think that they believe us, but I really appreciate that. So, and then we had a comment, actually, Ginger had posted on her Facebook page about the garden plots being open, and there was a resident who commented about whether we could have a fence around them. I don't even know, I know it couldn't be a fancy fence, at least especially this year, because she said everything that was planted last year was enjoyed by the wildlife in her particular plot anyway, so.
Or at least that's what she made us believe.
Yeah, so that's what she suggested. So if that could be just put out there as an idea. So, and I appreciate all the staff for your reports tonight, and long way where we've come from when I started 10 years ago. So with having goals and the focus and the teamwork, and that everybody knows that we're in it together. So that's huge. So I appreciate every single one of you tonight. So that's it.
Kate, was she suggesting that she could just put her own little fence around her plot, or was she
She did
hoping-
not, but we.
No, she suggested around the whole.
Thing. I don't think she thought she was the only one who had her produce eaten, but I know we have staff members that have gardens out there, so I would think if
Was
that
it
was.
a problem?
Can I comment on that, should I? I already sent emails out about this
Oh.
and had conversations, and Mark had said that some people had, you can put your own fence up there.
Okay.
And I actually reached out to somebody I knew that had a garden, one of the plots last year, and bought 2 this year. And they had plenty of vegetables, but they also used some deer spray,
Okay,
just in case. But then as it was pointed out, there's field mice and everything else
Sure.
out there too. And I did ask about, some residents inside the staff inside the gate, residents outside, but to put in the entire gate would be expensive.
right,
But-
well, and
but
I
it-
was just,
yeah.
even this year, because there was no budgeted item, there's
Right.
wooden slats with wire fencing,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I didn't know. But if they can put up their own fence,
Yeah.
then that could be.
Or do some
make sure we
spraying or
note that on the
something.
Facebook
Yeah.
page in response to the comment, so that would be helpful.
Spray is probably a better alternative.
Yeah.
Because deer, to fence them out, you're gonna have to get 6-foot fence in there.
Yeah.
Because if they really
Everybody
want it,
putting
they'll
up a
go.
6-foot
Yeah.
fence is not gonna happen.
Yeah, she said she had a lot of vegetables. That's why they bought 2 this
Well,
time
and
out.
that's why I knew that other people were having, so I just thought I'd bring it
Yeah.
up.
Thank you though, Kay, appreciate it, so.
Okay, Ginger.
I said my piece.
My peace be with you.
Pat?
Me? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Here we go. Well, first of all, I want to thank Mike also, right, for the emails back and forth about the issue in the village. So I appreciate it all and your consideration of it, Mike, and reaching out to like Luke's and to Nick. So very much so. It was appreciated. And then I wanted to, Adam left. I talked to him before the meeting, but congratulate H2O Church on having those storefronts. They're working very well with the Odd Fellows. I did send out to John Svolinka and another email about they're working in cooperation with Quiltmaster for additional parking, and then they'll have some, but I didn't know until John responded. You've got about 30 spaces on the street too. So, and the reason I asked is because Adam had mentioned that maybe they might have some sort of an event there or something with the park being in the way it is at the moment. Not a movies in the park kind of thing, but, something. And I wanted to make sure that they had plenty of parking and it didn't impede anything down there. But John addressed everything. So, but congratulations. I know they've been looking for a home and definitely wanted to stay in Carpentersville. And so I'm happy for them that they found something. Then I wanted to bring up and thank the board for allowing the presentation tonight on Long Meadow Parkway. I know I've been bugging you guys, and I appreciate it. It's a good presentation. I think there's a lot of contradictions in there with regards to using the county's own data. I think those of us that went to the township meeting were kind of floored that there was Ed Fagan, who's an engineer for 40 years or something, was able to just pull up the county's own data, and it contradicted itself right in front of you. So I really appreciate it, And I appreciated all the speakers that we had tonight. We had quite a few. Everyone was civil, and it was very well presented. So, with that, I have a draft ordinance that I would like to see if this current board would consider a resolution, whether or not we would be opposed or support the bridge. I think it's no secret where I stand. It hasn't been for years. And so I would like to see if, I don't know if we need a motion, Mark, or what we would need if we could get the staff to look at the resolution and our legal department.
Legal department look at it and then send it back out. And then if you get a second to request it on the 17th, we put it on
Yeah,
there.
I see Ed's already getting, what's up, Ed? You know,
No, I
Oh.
said you probably should get a second now, rather than spend time on a lawyer. If you get a second, we need to have the lawyer look it over. If you don't, then we don't need to have him look it over
Right,
and spend
exactly.
any funds on it. So
okay.
I guess I'm looking for someone to
Well, we need
join
to,
in this.
well, what would be the motion that you?
Well,
would
there
want?
wouldn't be any motion now.
Right.
You're asking as a trustee to have something put on the agenda. If a
Right.
second trustee says, yes, put it on the agenda, then it will happen.
Oh, for the,
If
okay.
a second trustee does
Sure.
not say that, then it doesn't happen.
Okay.
So I'm asking if there is a trustee that will support her motion to put this on, or her recommendation to put this on the next board meeting, or the 17th, whatever board meeting.
Yeah.
Is there a second? I'm not seeing any, Pat,
Okay.
so it will not go
Huh?
on.
You're not, no? Okay.
I'll second it then.
Okay,
All right.
then we'll go on.
That's what our residents are looking to see, guys, where everybody stands. So it'll reveal itself, and it'll have impact later. But I will go ahead and give this to staff, and then if they can look it over, and then we can have discussion later with that, I'd appreciate it. So, and then lastly, I just wanted to say congratulations to Ed for being a first-time grandpa. So, saw the pictures, a little boy, so I hope you enjoy him.
A lot of fun already.
Yeah, so, and that would conclude my report.
Don?
Yeah, I didn't know that, and congratulations.
Yeah.
Very good. Join the club.
Yeah. Been a long time coming.
I got a couple of things here. First of all, Mike, thank you for sending me that article about the Narcan that was used in Lake County. Saved 2 lives in 5 days. I think it was 5 days. That just shows how widespread the drug abuse is, and especially heroin use. And again, I sent a message to Mr. Rooney about, we'd like to see that drug program continue and start up, and at least get a message out there. And I'd be willing to help in any way I could. Hopefully, one of these days, my dream would be we don't have to carry it anymore. That's a dream, but we have to set our goals high on that. And I want to thank staff for the great reports that we had tonight. Thank you all. You were all very good. The goals are right in line with what we're looking at. We got a lot of work to do here, and we've accomplished a lot. That since I've been on this board, I know that we've made headways, just amazing amount of work, and we got a good team, a great team here, and I'm glad to see that you're all working in that in that realm, that we're all in this together, because that's what it's all about. And I was just amazed to see that that some of the principals in the last election didn't want to sit around and with us tonight and see all those improvements and see all of that and see the nuts and bolts and how it works and see what all of this is. But I guess don't have the wherewithal for that. And I'll conclude my remarks with that. Thank you. Thank you, staff.
Thanks, Ed. Apologize for being late tonight. I took a lot of time off at the beginning of the month, so we're coming to an enrollment end, and I needed to stay to do some extra work tonight. I wanted to thank the voters of Carpentersville for returning me back to office, so thank you very much. I take that very seriously. You know, I never go into an election thinking I'm going to win it. I know I have to work for it, and I'm really happy with the two guys I ran with that all three of us were successful. And it's humbling. I want to thank the residents for that, and I'll continue to make strides in the village that I think have paid some positive results, paid some positive dividends for the village. I did want to talk a little bit. Ed and I had a chance last week to meet with Carl Swanson, who is managing, I guess, the properties to some extent from staying on top of things, kind of like almost like an HOA over at Spring Hill Industrial Center, and learned a couple things that he wants us to help him with some marketing problems that he's having right now, and we'll entertain that. But I did want to mention that he said about 440 of the people that work over at Spring Hill Industrial Center, of that number of employees that work there, 128 of them are in Carpentersville, or Carpentersville residents. And so while, and he went through the amount of money that they generate from that industrial center, which was, I think, upwards $50-60 million annually. So it was really, it's in good shape. I posed a couple questions that we've talked about here about the education level of a Carpentersville resident is, by having 128 of 440 people, are they having problems finding educated people in and he didn't blink an eye. He said, no, it's things, I hear nothing but positive from the owners here that are running businesses. And we've got some pretty significant businesses that are working in that Spring Hill Industrial Center. So I thought it was a pretty good meeting overall. I'm glad we went to that and were able to sit down and talk a little bit about things in the area. This Thursday, Ed and I are going to meet with some of the firefighters to try to talk about the last election and concerns that they have. We'll come back and share that with you guys, what we find out. So I just want to let you know that that was going to happen. And then I can't pass up this opportunity now to talk a little bit about Kay. And, we've served many years together on the board and haven't always agreed, but I think we've mostly agreed.
It's healthy to disagree sometimes.
It does, yes. And she's been a great teacher to me, too, on how to address different things, how to behave sometimes. And I'm always very appreciative. I've always been very appreciative of that. And I kind of view her almost as like I have 4 younger sisters. She's kind of like my other sister. So you know that I will miss you very much on this board. I'll probably say something similar the next meeting, but I value your opinion, and I hope you won't stop providing that to me when you feel necessary, especially when I seem to be going off that path. And thank you for being a friend, and thank you for being supportive all these years. It means a lot to me, and we're going to miss you. And you've been through some pretty tough times here in the village. And when I look back at where we've been and how far we come, and when you do this all the time, you accomplish these small things. You mentioned that, accomplishing these small items as you're going on, and you don't really appreciate the aggregate of it. And I had a chance to talk to a past trustee, and when I started, I kind of got a little bit upset because I was getting challenged on a few things, and thinking of you, Kate, to focus on the positive. And when I started going through all the things that we have put in place or have had directed our manager to do, and how that has flourished to all the department heads, and you heard a lot of that tonight. We've really made a big headway in this town. I mean, it's just amazing when I look back, like having job descriptions, not here. There were no job descriptions when we started here.
Yeah.
It was just amazing. I mean, I laugh about the one-page budget, but you saw it.
Yeah.
There was not much there. So I think the important takeaways, you know, are that we've listened to the residents. I believe we have. Some people might not agree with that. We've tried to be as transparent as possible, putting information out, finding new ways to get information in front of our customers, our residents, and then staying on top of the little things, taking those small accomplishments year after year, and just trying to make the village better. And I'll miss, you know, I'll have 4 years left to do that. I don't know how much more I can take after that, but you know, it was great to work with you, Kay. I just want to say that, and I'll miss you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. And it's going to be, I mean, 10 years. It's going to be a little bit of an adjustment, but I might show up here periodically. I'll, you know, watch online, so, and I'll be around. I'm not leaving town, so you can definitely count on me for an opinion here and there.
That's right. Anyways, that concludes my report. Thank you.
I'll save my remarks for the next meeting for you. But yeah, I mean, I have to echo much of what Trustee Humfer said. On a different note, I had the opportunity to represent the village for Lynn McCarthy Day at Dundee Crown High School.
Yeah, that's right.
That was a great experience. That was definitely one of the highlights of me being in the trustee seat, being able to go back into Dundee Crown after 20 years and walk through those halls and be like, oh yeah, that's where my chemistry class was, that's where English was, and just remember. And actually, the MC of the event was my freshman baseball coach, so we shared a couple stories and had a good laugh about that. So it was really, really enjoyable being able to be a part of that, and really to see Principal McCarthy be celebrated in that environment. She really was is a special principal, a special person, a driver for change at that school. And that school really is a microcosm of Carpentersville as a whole. The reputation precedes itself, and when you get to know it, when you experience it like I did, the reputation doesn't fit what is actually happening at all, much like Carpentersville in general. So, and that was true when I went back there for this event. There's still positivity everywhere. The students were very engaging, and everyone's on the same page. There was a lot of school spirit there. So that was great to see. It was very enjoyable. And then one last thing, I saw online there was a list, a website put together a list of the safest places in Illinois. And this sort of touches on what I said in just a second ago. Carpentersville is ranked in here, and we're in the top third of the municipalities that were ranked. The thing that I think we should get the word out about, and the thing that I think is remarkable, and how we should challenge the optics of Carpentersville as a whole. I'll just note some of the municipalities that are less safe than Carpentersville, according to the study, and I'll touch upon the methodology after I go through this list. But these are the municipalities that are not as safe as Carpentersville per the metrics: Sycamore, South Elgin, St. Charles. Yes, St. Charles, Algonquin, Streamwood, McHenry, Crystal Lake, Elgin, Schaumburg, West Dundee, and DeKalb. There are a bunch of other ones here too, but those are some local ones, and those are some of the local municipalities that have a much better reputation than Carpentersville. The methodology used for this, I'll touch upon it real quick. Raw data includes property crime, which includes burglary, larceny, theft, motor vehicle theft, arson, and violent crimes, which includes manslaughter, murder, forcible rape, robbery, and aggravated assault, from all law enforcement agencies that chose to partake in the FBI Uniform Crime Reporting Program. This website standardizes the data to reflect violent and property crimes per 100,000 residents to account for population. Then they aggregated a crime score by weighting violent crime at 90% and property crime at 10%. Though property crime is more prevalent, they figured that violent crime is more concerning to town residents, and I happen to agree with that. I think a 90-10 split seems to be fairly reasonable for something like this. It definitely isn't something that trips any triggers or makes you think that this is a baked study in any way. And then they ranked the cities based on their crime score. So again, Carpentersville ahead of St. Charles, ahead of Algonquin, ahead of West Dundee. These are the facts. This isn't us up here puffing up our chest and saying, well, this is something that we believe. These are facts. This is all based on facts. So I just wanted to get that out there. Hopefully some of the residents pick up on this and can use it in casual conversations and start weaving it into the narrative of the village, because this really is an extremely safe place to raise a family, much more so than we're giving credit for. And it's time for us to start getting that message out there. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Well, Kay, I can't be as eloquent as Paul, but I'm going to miss you. I know that. I just, we've been together 10 years now. Paul, 10 years, same 10 years. Well, you had another year,
He had
a
like
year
a
before
month.
that.
He had like 2 or 3 months that he was appointed before.
A year and a month or something like that. Well, maybe it was only a month. Whatever it was, he's been here longer than us, so.
It was like extra.
Anyway, my report, I don't have too much, just, last week was reading week, so I was invited over to Tom Thumb and to DeLacy, and I believe Tom Thumb is pretty sure they're gonna move in June into their new facility, so that will be nice. Does that sound about right? Yeah. So that'll be nice. That's gonna be a nice building, especially when they get that pond done and everything, or retaining area. And then I did attend the Northwest Municipal Conference legislative meeting. And one of the things that we discussed at depth was the Governor Rauner turnaround agenda. And villages had been asked to give blanket endorsement to the agenda. Unfortunately, most of the municipalities in Northwest Municipal didn't see that they could give blanket endorsement to it, because there were things that each village said, well, now, yeah, everything but this, and somebody else said everything but that. So as a municipal league or a municipal group, we decided that we would not have or try to get a single endorsement, and rather would wait until there's more information, because there are too many things in the turnaround that either we really think will change based on the way the compromises get worked out in the legislature, or that did not have enough information to just blanket and endorse something that, I don't want to say it was sketchy information, but some of it was anecdotal, and there were some things that, so that's the recommendation of Northwest Municipal, is do not give a blanket endorsement. Let's wait until mid-May when things start to flesh out, and if it looks like there's enough that's going to really help the villages, then let's put the push on and get all the municipalities behind it, especially if there's some sort of a grand compromise that will get everybody involved in it. So I'm just passing on the recommendation of the group. That doesn't mean that's what we have to do, but that was the recommendation of Northwest Municipal. Again, Hitchcock, I was very pleased with that meeting. It really was, I mean, I'm just sitting there going, wow, he's really on this thing. He was on us. And Arbor Day was great. I get to go to Dundee Crown tomorrow. I've been invited over to talk about municipal government with some of the AVID classes. And the gardens, I'm not going to be surprised if we fill every one of those new ones. Who's taking the request? Is that?
We got to let community development.
So do you think we're going to fill all of them?
That's what's anticipated now. That's why we put in the additional ones.
How many
That's
are
wonderful.
total?
That's one of those little programs that is just kind of snowballing, because we got it started, and I'm excited about that one. Anyway, I'll conclude my report. We need executive session, sections 2C1, 2C2, and 2C11 of the Open Meetings Act. I need a motion to move to executive session.
I'll second.
Motion Kevin, second Ginger. Terry, call the roll.
Trustee Burroway,
Yes.
trustee Humper,
Yes.
trustee Raybold,
Yes.
trustee Teeter,
Yes.
trustee Stevens,
Yes.
trustee Schultz.
Yes.
Adjourn to executive session.